Hi, we're not on the range today. We're at one of our training facilities, so we've got the Field Expedient target frame set up. And today we're talking about 16-gauge shotguns. Now this is a Winchester Model 1897, and I'm shooting this today because it's pretty much the only 16-gauge any of us own. And today I'm talking about 16-gauge, not about the Model 97. We have a presentation specifically on this model that you can watch, but today talking just about shot shells, the question came up, why does no one talk about the 16-gauge anymore? Okay, fair question, and let me see if I can shed some light on that. There's a lot of people of the opinion that the 16-gauge has completely fallen out of favor and it's totally obsolete. That's a bit of a misconception. From what I hear, it's still quite popular in Europe, but there's no question that in the United States, it's greatly fallen out of favor. Why is that? There's a lot of reasons. Let me see if I can cover just a couple of them. One of those is, in 1926, when everybody agreed on the rules for skeet shooting, not trap but skeet, one of the things they agreed on is that the guns that would be used would be 12, 20, 28 gauges, and 410 bore. 16 gauge got left out. Well, that started it on a downhill slide right there. And then later, as we see improvements in shotgun ammunition, motivated by skeet shooting, because 16 gauge wasn't used for skeet, it missed out on some of those. Another reason is that a long time ago when you bought shotgun ammunition, there wasn't that much variation. When you bought 20 gauge, mostly what you got was 2 3/4 inch with an ounce of shot. 16 was 2 3/4 inch with an ounce and an eighth of shot. 12 gauge is 2 3/4 inch with an ounce and a quarter of shot, and these are all lead shot. So you can see that 16 gauge fills a niche between 20 and 12. Well, as we see greater varieties of ammunition coming to the market, 20 gauge ammunition with 7/8 ounce of shot, 1 ounce, 1 1/8, or 3-inch Magnum 20 gauge with 1 1/4 ounce. Then 12 gauge, really light loads with 7/8 ounce or 1 ounce of shot, all the way up to 3.5 inch 12 gauge Magnums that have over 2 ounces of shot. And what happens is the niche filled by the 16 gauge gets completely squeezed out, and it became pretty much obsolete. I don't think I have ever seen a new 16 gauge shotgun for sale in a gun store. And when I go to gun stores looking for ammunition, 16 gauge is not always there, and when it is, there isn't that much variety of it. Although I know 16 gauge buckshot and slugs exist, I don't recall ever having seen them in a store. And when you do find 16 gauge ammo in a store, it's typically significantly more expensive than 12 or 20 gauge. So that's the very short version of why a 16 gauge is no longer popular in the United States and the results of it. So if you have a 16 gauge, should you throw it away? Well, some people ask the question about collector value. Yeah, it doesn't have hardly any of that either. I see guns like this Model 1897 for sale frequently, and frequently I see that 16 gauge fetches about half the price of 12 gauge. So, what do you do with a 16 gauge? Well, if you have one, and you're willing to pay the extra amount for the ammunition, can it be effective? Let's see if we can shed some light on that. Now, I've got these Big Dog reactionary targets that were donated by a viewer, thank you very much. And I'll go back 25 yards and I'll shoot the target on your right with this 16 gauge, 2 3/4 inch, 1 1/8 ounce of number 6 lead birdshot. And let's see what kind of pattern we get. Now we see that this particular gun patterns low. I put the bead right in the center, and there's definitely more hits low than there is high. That's why you have to pattern your shotgun. But as far as the pattern density, for hunting grouse, quail, pheasant, rabbits, whatever, this looks perfectly sufficient. So when loaded with 1 1/8 ounce of number 6 lead birdshot, we see our 16 gauge puts a pretty good pattern on that target. But how effective will it be against really serious targets like these soda jugs? Let's find out. Looks okay to me. So would I advise buying a 16 gauge? No. But if you've already got one and you can find the ammo for it, go with it.